Welcome to GMCC's Lunch and Learn, all about e-commerce and shipping strategies. My name is Mishka Balsam, and I'm really glad that you were able to join us today. Shipping impacts the end quality perception of your product. It determines whether you make money. It impacts the size of your customer base, and it can save you time. It is one of the most important components to your business, and during the past 2 years, it has proven to be even more essential than ever before. I'm glad that you're with us today for the next hour to explore numerous options and powerful tools available to you to allow you to be strategic and ultimately cost-effective in your shipping. We are joined today by Sharon Reeds, the co-founder and CEO of Intuitive Shipping Inc., an award-winning Niagara-based software company that gives online stores the tools to control shipping costs and delivery options at checkout to boost the conversions, maintain their margins, and gain a competitive advantage in their market. But before we get started, let me give a big shout out to YMCA Employment and Immigrant Services of Niagara, who has been a leading partner for our Lunch and Learn series. Whether you're looking for an entry-level work or for a more senior role, finding a job isn't always easy. And that's why they offer employment programs to support employees through this process. And if you're an employer, they offer extensive employment service programs. And it is my great pleasure to be joined by Cheryl Kincaid, who's passionate about the work of the YMCA Employments and Immigrant Services of Niagara, and so are we.
Thank you, Mishka. It's always a pleasure for the YMCA to support the Chamber events. Just want to tell everyone a little bit about what we do. The YMCA Employment Services programs offered by Employment Ontario provides one-on-one coaching to job seekers by employment specialists who are invested in their success. Clients needing help finding a job, putting together a resume, improving interview techniques, or upgrading skills can find everything they need at one of our 3 locations in Niagara. From an employer standpoint, the YMCA understands how challenging it is to find and retain the right employees. The added time, money, and stress involved can be overwhelming, and we can help alleviate some of these frustrations. YMCA Employment and Immigrant Services makes finding the right person for the right job simple, convenient, and cost-effective. All of our services are free to both the employer and the job seeker. Some of the services that we can provide to employers include recruitment consultation, on-the-job training, placement incentives, so some funding for eligible clients and qualified employers towards their training, free job postings, coordinating and hosting job fairs, referral of suitable pre-screened potential employees, client employment preparation and scheduling of interviews, and assisting with apprenticeship registration and facilitation. So if you are an employer and you're looking to hire, please contact us at one of our employment services located in Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, and Thorold. Thank you.
Cheryl, thank you so very much for being with us and all the services that you provide to both employers and employees in Niagara. I really don't know what many of our members do without the YMCA Employment and Immigrant Service of Niagara. So thank you for that. And now to introduce our guest, Sharon Reeds, CEO of Intuitive Shipping Inc., is a fervent believer that shipping is a pillar of e-commerce, fundamental to the success and profitability of online merchants of all sizes. She's fiercely committed to educating retailers about the importance of having a winning shipping strategy. Her advanced shipping calculation software has helped its users convert over $5 billion in sales. Cultivating a rapidly growing team, Sharon has secured some of Niagara's best talent and is devoted to building a diverse and inclusive and very enthusiastic workplace. Sharon's leadership has helped Intuitive Shipping become a recipient of the Ontario Centre of Excellence Smart Start Seed Fund, winner of the 2019 Emerging Business Award at the Niagara Women in Business Awards, and the 2021 Excellence in Business Award at the Niagara Business Achievement Awards. E-commerce giant Shopify has featured Intuitive Shipping multiple times and twice named the company a staff pick. So Sharon, thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you. It's so weird hearing all that together. I'm like, oh yeah. It's so cool. And I love that the why. We actually used their services to get our second developer. It was so great. I loved it because we used it to help with the training, because getting new staff does cost money, and it's hard to find people. So it is such a great service. And thank you guys for sponsoring this.
That's
So
wonderful.
I'm gonna try and share my screen. Bear with me. We did try this earlier.
And so for everyone who is here with us, what we're going to do for 30 minutes, I'm going to pass it over to Sharon to actually give us a presentation that hopefully will address many of the questions that you've already shared with us. And then the second part of today's Lunch and Learn will go into some of the questions that you have. So I encourage you to please utilize the chat function that is there. And many of you have already also emailed us, texted us some, and we are really committed to getting to all of them. And I just one last housekeeping item before I pass it over to Sharon is, if you wish to enable live transcript, please refer to the bottom of your Zoom screen for that particular option. Thank you. And Sharon, over to you.
Awesome. Let's go. So thank you everyone for being here and joining me today. What you're going to discover about me is that I am very into shipping. I'm kind of known as the one half of that weird shipping couple, because at events, we do just tend to get into it with people about not, oh my gosh, not like that, but around shipping. So just a little bit about me. So I'm the co-founder of Intuitive Shipping, and the other founder is actually my husband. So we spent the last 2 years together, living and working in the same household, and we still get along really well. So that is something that kind of boggles people's minds. We have a son named Teddy. He is pretty much me, but like reincarnated essentially. He'll make me chase down people in parking lots to compliment their shirts. I compliment people as well. I'm born and raised in Niagara. I am so happy to offer employment here. And one of our goals is to be a large anchor company for the Niagara region and provide employment here. I studied human resources at Niagara College. I'm very tall, so if you're ever at a GNCC event or any event, you see a very tall, loud woman, that is very likely me. So come say hi, which is ironic because I used to be shy, which people don't really believe, but I swear I used to never talk, and I think I'm kind of getting it out now. So today we're going to be covering why shipping is critical to your success, the 3 stages of e-commerce shipping, the best tools to control this experience, the variables that guide the way, which also help you identify the best strategy for your store, the true cost of DIY shipping, and why packaging matters. So why shipping is critical. So we have a very basic buyer's journey here. So we have your marketing. So this is going to be anything that you do to get people to visit your store. So any ad spend, any sort of like, even if you go to like a craft market kind of thing, that is considered marketing. So anything to get them there. Once they're on your store, that will be your storefront. So this is your product pages, descriptions, policy pages, anything that once the person visits your site, they are going and looking at your products and gives them all the context to want to buy. The checkout, this is actually where my company helps out. So the checkout is the most important step of the journey, because this is where somebody converts from a shopper into a buyer. And we have fulfillment, which is when you actually go and ship the order. So this is actually maybe making the item if you're a small maker. This is when you actually have that time where you're crafting for somebody. If you resell things, that is when you're just picking, packing it, and sending it off to the carrier. And post-purchase is anything that happens after it actually goes on your customer's doorstep. So this is the actual package it comes in, the unboxing experience. This can also have any follow-up emails, review requests, and such. So the 3 stages happen in here, which is the storefront, checkout, and fulfillment. So checkout and fulfillment is the most important piece here. And again, is where the experience goes from digital to physical. If something wrong happens here, this is when everything falls apart. The customer's like, no, I'm going to go. And then you're left without a sale, and you spent all that marketing money essentially for nothing, because they're not buying anything from you. So we're going to get into the tools to control those 3 stages. So for the storefront, again, this is the actual store someone's shopping at. Your best tool is context. You have to think of how many questions you ask yourself, even when you're going to a grocery store, you're like, oh, like how much is the oranges today? Things change. You want to know a lot of information. And a lot of times I'm guilty of it, even with my own team. I think a lot in my head and I'll say a little bit of it. And I'm kind of like, what are you talking about? So sharing as much information as you can is great. There's different learning styles, and you're going to want to cover on this page, which this page, by the way, please don't hide it under policies or even under the FAQ. Shipping happens on every single order. So it is super, super important that you actually label it something that's obvious, like shipping and delivery, shipping information, delivery information. That is what your shoppers are going to go to your store and look for. So on this page, you want to have where you ship to and where you don't ship to. So some people think it's obvious, well, if I ship here, I'm not shipping here. But a lot of people want to know, well, can I pay maybe a bit extra? Is there special circumstances where you can ship to me? So just have that really explicitly stated just to help reduce customer friction. You're not going to have as many customer inquiries as well. So what to expect for cost, we're going to go into the different pricing strategies a little bit later. But no matter what you decide to do for your shipping, there's a cost. So let people know what to expect, especially because we have large marketplaces like Amazon who created this really false narrative that shipping is free and it's super fast. That is your benchmark if you don't have this information. If free shipping is available, people expect it. It's not always possible. As we all know, shipping costs money for somebody, and that's the merchant. So when orders are dispatched, again, Amazon has created this really, it's a false narrative really that shipping is super, super fast and it doesn't cost money. So if you don't have this information, like maybe something's made to order, maybe something's back order, give this information because otherwise the context is set by another retailer and people will grow frustrated with the experience before they even get their item. Who you ship with, this one is interesting. I've never had a bad shipping carrier where I'm like, oh, don't ever use UPS again. I always have great delivery kind of post people bringing the order to me. But there are some cases where maybe your Canada Post people are fantastic, but in another province, maybe the people are salty and they just kind of toss the package and people will not shop with you if all you offer is that carrier. So having a selection, if possible, just helps people know what to expect. Also expected transit times, which are the delivery estimates. Again, Amazon has set this narrative that shipping is going to be super fast, and really it's not. If you do the standard option, things take time, especially if you're shipping across the country to another country. So letting people know what to expect. Also, if duties and taxes are included. So this is obviously applicable if you are shipping internationally. I actually recently had an order where it was a store name .ca, and actually had Canada in like the actual like logo thing. And I was like, okay, cool. It's shipping from Canada. And the shipment actually came in 2 packages, and the second piece took 3 weeks, came from London, and I was hit with $40 duties and taxes. And I was like, what? And I had no choice but to pay it. I was frustrated. I will not shop there again because they just did not relay that information to me. And that just creates frustration and friction where it doesn't need to happen. Also, if shipping insurance is included and or available, I always recommend to price your strategy to have it included. Your carrier, it's not too much cost-wise. A lot of options, if you have a business account, will include it up to a certain value. Things happen, things go missing. There was actually an instance I ordered from this lovely artist on Etsy, and it was like the curves of these prints I ordered where they're kind of curled up, and there was an actual boot print, like a dirty boot print on this like really nicely packaged print and it was damaged, and fortunately there was insurance for it and stuff. So it was all good. It was all taken care of, but things do happen. As much as you can create the best circumstance for it to get your customer safely, it still might not happen. So the checkout. So this is where intuitive shipping does its thing. This is my passion. I love it so much. It is the most critical part of the journey. And that's because 69% of carts are abandoned at checkout. And the majority of this stat is from shipping options. So this can be the timelines available, the costing, the context. Something at the checkout is making someone change their mind. And nowadays, because the online platforms available to us have so many payment options built in, it'll fall back to shipping. And we like to say it all falls apart at shipping. And I'm going to show you why. So this is a just standard shop by checkout. This is not a real store. This is our demo store. But if you notice, it's 3 business days. And there's one option. So if you order like this cart of like a person, some clothing items, you could get it in a few days or wait literally over a week. And the problem with these timelines, these estimates is 3 days is now the benchmark. And every day after that third day, your customer is growing more tired and frustrated. So also if you see over here, so this store, imaginary store, but this happens. We work with customers all the time who have this. It is 3 cents under a free shipping threshold. So this store has free shipping over $125. This person is 3 cents under. There's nothing on this page, which again is a customer going from the shopper to be like, I want to buy this. I'm good to go. The only thing standing in their way is shipping. They might see this, look at $8 and say, my total is so much. I'm just ordering some clothing items, and they'll abandon their cart. And I'm just going to show you an intuitive shipping experience, just kind of show you how you can really, really hone in the checkout and leverage it to just push people through and make them excited. Well, I get excited by it. I hope you do too. So now we have the exact same cart, but now we have 3 shipping options. We've configured the app to pull this delivery estimate right from Canada Post. So this is going from our office in St. Catharines to an address in Victoria, BC. So standard shipping is going to be ground shipping. If you've ever traveled across Canada, it takes a while. So for this customer going through, they'll have to wait 8 business days to get their order. Sometimes that might be fine. Like right now it's cold and it was hailing earlier. So I don't want to wear like a romper or a dress right now. I want to still be cozied up. But let's just say this is the end of May. I have a girls' wine trip weekend. I'm really excited. I love Lavu's clothes. I can always opt for express or priority shipping to get it there in time. This is also beneficial because people wait till last minute to do things. And again, Amazon has set that expectation that shipping is super fast. So offering these options is helpful. So think of holidays where you're like, oh, Mother's Day is coming up. Easter, for example, changes the date every single year. So you can't really keep a grasp on when it's coming. So this just allows you to wait till last minute if you need to, still get the item, and customers will pay money to get it there faster, because especially like the cost is a lot less psychologically than letting somebody down and being like, oh, hey, like, yeah, it's in the mail. It's nice to actually hand somebody something. And right here, we also actually created a cart condition. So orders over $125 qualify for free standard shipping. So the cart total is still the same, 3 cents under. I think we've all done this where we have added something to the cart. In this case, my mind, I'm thinking I'm getting an $8 discount on the other dress I wanted. I'm going to go through the checkout. Lavu store is going to make more money and they're going to convert me to a paying customer. So what to look for in this space, this is shipping apps at checkout. They can do the calculating cost. and or context. We do both. So look for speed. This is one of the most important pieces. So it is every 100 milliseconds in reduction to checkout page load brings you 1.55% more revenue. This means that people are less likely to abandon their cart. They're less likely to change their mind. This is why those quick checkouts have become really popular, because people are just, it just makes it easy. There's less friction. Anytime you can reduce friction, it's better. So speed is very, very, very important. Uptime, this is just as important actually. So uptime is important because apps in the space I'm in, so the checkout space, we take over your checkout. Like, we are responsible for returning that shipping rate. If we go down, your whole checkout goes down. Your customers cannot check out. So having a solution that has server infrastructure that can scale, that isn't going down. Like, for example, it's been about 2.5 years since we had, it was like a few minutes of downtime, but it's been 2.5 years. So our customers are always getting their checkouts working. Support is just as important, because the space we're in, shipping is very complex. Everything is different for everybody. No two stores are the same. And it's actually an interesting question that people say, like, oh, like, what do people do for furniture stores? And a lot of people, they do percentage-based shipping, for example, the cart total, but that might not work for you because of where you're located or what you're shipping. So it's so personal and unique to everybody. So having a support that'll guide you through along the way with the customization options to really make it work for your store is so important. Because shipping happens on every order, you should never have to kind of like change your strategy and setup and what you need to do to work with something else. That solution should be able to customize and tailor to you, because it's your store. This is your livelihood. This is your chance for success. Scalability. So hopefully, everyone watching, you want to grow bigger. I think that's everyone's goal, is to grow. So making sure that as your strategy changes, maybe you've added a new product line. Maybe your order volume has increased so much that, okay, Canada Post, now you're in a higher tier of them and you get much, much better discounts. Having an app that you can change and work with you is going to be better in the long term. And carrier selection, this goes back to the previous point of people just sometimes don't like carriers. And even sometimes some carriers aren't available in some areas. Some remote areas this can happen to. So it's just giving your customers the option to be able to buy. And also for those people who don't like a certain carrier, they'll still buy from you. The best tool, I mean, like, intuitive shipping, I'm going to say it is. The reason I can confidently say this is because I know our tech is so solid. We have some of the world's largest brands using us and trusting us for the most critical component. We also support small and medium-sized businesses. Just anyone watching right now, or I guess later, I guess that would be right now for you. We do offer a special plan for smaller stores. So just reach out to our team at support@intuitiveshipping.com and we can hook you up with that. This will just give you the best solid kind of solution for your store, scalability, moving on, and just get you there. So the next step is going to be fulfillment. This is again where it's the checkout's complete. You are picking, packing the order, maybe making it to order. This is that piece going to your customer's door. And this has your label printing, tracking updates, and delivery notifications. Label printing platforms, they've come a long way since when I started working in the e-commerce space. They have a lot more automated label printing. So you might need a solution for this. Your platform might have it built in as well. It just depends on the platform you selected for your store. Tracking updates, these are kind of like text message or the email you get, like, oh, hey, Sharon, your order's out for delivery today. Your order number 5 of 23, and you get really excited, like, oh, it's coming. And the delivery notifications have the same effect. It wasn't the same for me when I was working from home. But now that I'm back in an office, when I get that notification of like, oh, hey, like it's coming, like, yeah, like it's there. I am so excited to come home, and not just for my pets because they're adorable. Like I love when I have my order there. You're seeing it in person. And it's really exciting. And it also makes you know, like my baby's safe, like it's at my door. So what you're going to look for in your post-purchase solutions, your fulfillment, label discounts. So if you are just starting out, you're newer to selling online, you're not going to have the best shipping rates. The carriers will give those, and carriers just, you know, are like Canada Post, UPS, USPS. They give discounts for higher volume stores. When you're just starting out, you don't have those volumes. What these solutions will do is they will bulk buy labels from a carrier and then resell them at a lower rate to you. So if you're starting out, this is fantastic. It gives you an opportunity to kind of sell with the big guys. Ease of use. So we're in the checkout space. It's pretty much a set and forget until your strategy changes in a year or so. Your labeling solution is something you're going to use for every single order. So if it is clunky, maybe difficult to use, it might not be the best solution for you. Same with speed. I mean, if you're doing a few orders a day, an extra 10 seconds, you're like, oh, whatever, it's fine. But scale it up by hundreds, maybe thousands of orders, that adds on time, and time is money. Uptime, very, very important, just as it is in the checkout space, because in the checkout, if you have no shipping rates, you can't check out. Uptime for your labeling means that you can actually print your labels and ship your orders. So if your solution goes down, your entire post-purchase just screeches to a halt and you have to wait until it's fixed. Support, things go wrong. There is onboarding for any technology. For me, Facebook changes the layout and I just kind of have a panic. I'm like, oh, it's changed. Where's the button? So any sort of onboarding for a new technology is going to have an anxiety and learning curve. So having a support team to help you through it, so helpful. And customization options, again, you should not have to change your shipping strategy to fit something else. It should fit you. So just make sure it can do what you need it to do and don't settle. For the solution, I would recommend for this ShipStation, they are, I mean, if you think of, I guess my space and the post-purchase labeling piece, people think ShipStation. Their parent company is actually stamps.com. So they're so old, like stamps.com, that they have .com in the name, and it was cool back then. Like, oh, .com, it's online. So it was a cool thing. And what's super cool with ShipStation is that you can actually use it with Intuitive, and it creates like super like special like shipping superhero where you can get the best of both pieces and really, really harness shipping to your advantage. So let's move to the variables that will guide your way. So you have what's being shipped, your packing materials, handling cost, your ship from location, and your ship to location. So all of these, they impact each other. They all kind of work together, and like you don't really have much control over this. I mean, you can change what you're shipping, but then your store is no longer maybe Susie's shoes, it's Susie's pens, and then your shipping mix just changes and you have other problems. So looking at this, accepting it and realizing this is what you have to work with, it's going to work in your favor, because even if you have a store that I sell handmade sweaters, I'm in the suburbs of St. Catharines. If somebody lives in rural, where's rural actually, like Fort Erie, that's not really rural anymore, to be honest, but they live in Fort Erie, they are not as close to kind of the metropolitan area. They're going to have different shipping challenges than I would because of the location. So that all leads into how to identify the ideal strategy. So live rates, I recommend any new store use this. This is when your customers are paying for the actual shipping cost. When you're starting out, you don't have any data to go off of. You're assuming a lot. You can look into your industry, do like your SWOT analysis, see like, okay, this is what should happen. But maybe you think most of your customers will be in the GTA. You actually start marketing, and for some reason, there is this small town in Halifax that just loves what you're doing. Now your shipping is way more money, takes longer than you anticipated. So having the live rates, I would say for at least a year to have enough data, has all those different holidays, seasons in there. It'll give you a really great baseline to base your flat rates on, which I'll go into in a little bit. So it's best option for new stores. It's transparent. You're not going to have the situation where you're selling a pack of pens that's like $5, but charging $20 because the shipping price is like free. It just makes it fair for everybody. There's no win some, lose some. It's everyone wins all the time, which also ensures your predictable profits. So this is something that's for me, because my parents are small makers. If some people are here on Etsy, they've actually removed the ability to even have province-wide shipping. So everything has to be like across Canada, the same price, which for small makers, but it kind of breaks my heart a little bit here, because if you are putting your love and your heart into making something for somebody, you should make money on that. There shouldn't be a case where, I charged you $12 to ship a cheese board across Canada, but really it ended up costing me $25. I have not made any money. I've spent my time making that. It just makes me sad that it happens. So small makers, I just really hope that if you are here, look at charging a live rate. And Etsy, it's a different topic. I mean, you can always email me and be like, hey, what are your thoughts on their shipping? Because I just personally don't agree with it, because it just it doesn't allow you to have the shipping strategy that you should be able to have, because you shouldn't have to fit a platform. The platform should fit you. So flat rates, this is where your customers pay a fixed predetermined rate for shipping. This, interestingly, I've only ever advised one of my mentees to do this. Their product can fit both sizes of it, can actually fit in like the Canada Post, like if it fits ships envelope, like it is always the same price going all across Canada for them. It's the only time I've ever said going in, you can do this, you're good to have a flat rate for your shipping. It's a consistently sized product. So this would not work for like a furniture store who sells chairs and also like little tiny glasses or anything like that. Like those are completely different items that they'll never have the same shipping. So it's having that live rate for that store is going to be better. So this also is what most new stores will attempt to start with. Reason being, our first experience with e-commerce is as a shopper. Large stores kind of started in the industry. They have those really great rates. They can also afford to lose some without breaking the bank. These will usually be based on weight, quantity, or price. The price is where like the free shipping comes in. We'll have that threshold of spend $75, get free shipping. And this one's the kind of like the win some, lose some. Sometimes you'll make money on it, sometimes you won't. And the idea is at the end of the day, it'll all balance out. Free shipping, free. So your customers will pay for shipping without knowing it. So this will be, again, like flat shipping. Stores that actually have consistent items have a very similar shipping price across the board. This can, though, destroy your units per transaction if no minimum spend is defined. So if I go to your store and you have like sell lip balms, this is on my desk, sorry. You sell lip balms. One of them is the same price to ship as if I buy 17 of them. If I need one, I'm just going to get one. But if I order more than one, because you've included the shipping price in this item, every extra item I order, if I order 5 of them, now I'm paying 5 times the shipping price just because the free shipping kind of farce was in there. So I do recommend if you do have free shipping, you have that threshold. It's going to be fair to both you and the buyer. It's going to encourage them to add something to their cart. If you recall the Lavu store, they're a few cents under that free shipping threshold. They're going to add something else and get that psychological discount by not paying for shipping. It should also be phrased as shipping included, because it's never free. Someone's paying for it. So that's just kind of an ethical piece of shipping included. So what goes into your price, this is going to be your dimensions and or your weight. So carriers will use dimensional weight, which is a theoretical weight that is the size of the box combined with the weight. There's this calculation they all do. So if you have a fridge sized box with a packing peanut, it'll cost more to ship than a tiny box that's like 20 pounds because the box will take up more space. Your shipping destination alters things as well, because the further that your carrier is driving or even the labor cost, it increases the cost. And your handling cost, this is more a tip for people who are starting out. A lot of people, I mean, for me, I didn't pay myself for the first few years. You tend to forget that, oh, wait, like I'm an employee and I want to also hire more people. So I have to actually build that into my cost. So make sure that when you're figuring your handling cost, look at the living wage for your area and calculate out how much on average each order takes to actually fulfill. I'm thinking about how much your package costs, the tissue papers, if you use a ribbon, anything that goes into that, that's your handling cost. And then for your flat rate pricing, so this is kind of after you have a whole year of data, you're going to take your total shipping spend and then divide it by your total shipped orders and then get your average shipping cost. So this is going to be your baseline. Consider removing the outliers for more accuracy. Outliers are those numbers that are just like, they're really wonky and weird. Maybe out of 500 orders, you had 2 that had like quadruple the shipping cost. I would just kind of take them out because they're anomalies and it's going to skew your average up. But we can do is add $1 or $2 to your flat rate. And that's going to account for those edge cases. Maybe a package was lost, there wasn't insurance on it, it's a repeating customer, and you ship it again for free. Also, if you do have a very high average, you can consider offsetting some of the shipping into the product prices. We had a client a few years ago who sold like marinades and like burger sauces and stuff like that. And they wanted to sell them, I think it was for $8, and their shipping price for just one was $13. No one's going to pay more for shipping than the product price. It's something that psychologically people can't get past. So if you have that high average, you're going to have to like kind of do some math, look at your common cart combinations, and you'll find something that does work. And this is something I see happening a lot, which is DIY shipping. These numbers are pulled directly from a CAA calculator they have. And these are based on the current gas prices, which have gone up a lot. So like a pickup truck that's 22 cents a kilometer just in gas, which is like, that's insane. So I just did like a really quick calculation. I drive an SUV. I did one from our office to my business development manager's house. She lives in Welland and she's 27.5 kilometers away. I'm going to want to come back. That's 55 kilometers round trip. So I drive an SUV. The total cost for that drive and delivery, if I was dropping off a shipment, is $6.70. So I kind of joked with her. I'm like, I'm going to have you come to me from now on because it actually costs a lot to visit you. So even if we want to argue that we have a bunch of shipments that day and you kind of routed it out and you found the best way to get around, let's just half this cost. It's still $3.35, not including the wear and tear on our vehicle, additional insurance costs for using it as a business vehicle, and most importantly, your opportunity cost. This is something I see a lot of times in newer merchants and smaller merchants especially. So I always like to look at it as how many new customers could you have gotten in that time you're driving your car? How many more, if you're a small maker, how many more items could you have made when you're driving your car? Could you spend time with your family? Could you have made a really nice home cooked dinner and actually eat? Like if you're starting your business, I mean, I hardly eat anything healthy the first couple of years because I'll just go. So maybe you can make a healthy meal or nap. Like napping's overrated. You lose a lot of sleep running a business. So there's so many things you could do instead of being a delivery driver. So leave that to the actual delivery drivers and just make sure that you're accounting for your time. And if you want to offer a different local option, offer curbside pickup, have them come to you. Fun fact is that my parents, they're in Fort Erie, and they've had people drive from Toronto to Fort Erie to pick up their items, and they just drive back. They just come for like a quick trip to get it, with that, instead of paying like $8 for shipping, which is just, the gas price is so much more than that. So people just tend not to consider this. And finally, we have why packaging matters. So this is going to be the post-purchase piece. So my item's at my door, I'm so excited, and I open it. And so I'm going digital, physical. I open it and I see this. So because we just got an office, I ordered a lot of like items recently. So this was just like a flat pack kind of decorative box. And this was all just packing. And it was frustrating. It's a waste for everybody. It's bad for the environment. They're spending more money, passing it off onto me. This was from our favorite Amazon. So I opened the box, and ironically, I ordered a larger item in the same order, and it came in an envelope, and I was just really confused because I opened this and it was this craft paper and a very good top coat, but I mean, it didn't warrant this like gigantic box to like, hello, I'm here. And my personal favorite was this. So I don't have a banana for scale, but this was 4 feet. Like I measured it, yes. But it just had all this paper, and I actually wrapped it around my body. I wish I had the picture. I wasn't on my phone, unfortunately, but it became like a dress. There was enough of it, and I'm 6'1", so it fit my body and could be like a midi dress. It was insane. And the wreath had its own like really well packaged shipping box. Back over here is a candle. And the candle had like an inch of bubble wrap. So it could have even gone in an envelope. It would have been totally safe. But instead they put it in this gigantic 4 by 3 foot box. And because I'm me, I looked to see, okay, how much would this cost? Like, what is this box price? Like if someone has like a lot, this is the largest store, I'm like, what is like the kind of like the economy kind of price on this? It would still be over $5 just for the box. And I was just so frustrated. No one wants this. We all get frustrated. The environment, it's not good for it. So what you want to do is make sure you find a box or packaging that makes sense for the products you're selling. Make it look pretty. Just don't frustrate people, because it is part of the buyer's journey. Like, yes, they've given you their money, but the idea is you want them to come back. You want to reduce any type of friction in the journey. So if you do that right, you're going to reduce your marketing expense and get customers returning. And repeat customers are so much cheaper than trying to get new customers. So then everything in your buyer's journey is perfect. Well, nothing's perfect, but it is frictionless. And that is the whole goal here. You want to take every piece of the journey, leverage shipping, make everyone happy, and return to your store and find success. And I saw some questions pop up. I really wanted to press them during it. But I will stop my share now. And then I think Mishka is going to join me.
I am actually. So
hello.
Thank you so very much. Actually, it's excellent and a wonderful overview of actually all that you have to offer. We have about 15 minutes left, and we have had a few questions coming in. So I'm going to jump into some of them, if you're all right with this. So there's a couple here in the chat. One of them, and it comes back, which I think is a really interesting question about the pricing of it again.
Yes.
If the product is $99.97 and shipping is free for things over $100, is that a good thing to strive for? Will that mean that people will order more or not? Where does that lie when we look at something like this?
So I'm hoping that, it's Gary. Hello, Gary. That's my father-in-law's name.
Oh.
I like Gary's, but it's not my father-in-law, I don't think. He doesn't, they know that we have a business, but they don't know what our business is.
Yeah.
It's cute. So it really depends on what else you sell. So is it product or products? Because if your product is $99.97, I mean, unless it's something people tend to order more than one of, they're not going to order another one just to get that free shipping. But if you have other items, you have like some items that are larger in value, you can absolutely just have those kind of smaller, like $10 less items, and people just add them. But the trick is to make sure those are high margin items. You don't want to get like a really low margin item that, let's just say, it costs you like $7.50 and you're selling it for $10. It's not really going to cover that shipping price. So it really is a balance. And this is what's frustrating about my space is it's never the same for everybody. It really is just a combination of what you're selling. So really, maybe you could have the free. So let's just say your item is $99.97 each, and you sell one item, and it's always that price. Make your free shipping threshold something like $150 or $175, which is more plausible, because otherwise what happens is you're making it something that it's not really attainable. But the person, like, it's like you saw one thing, why is it so close to this? People will be frustrated and kind of feel like you're toying with them. Yeah. But if you have like different items, it comes up to that. It comes up to $99.97. Having it is going to have people add stuff. Everyone's done it because psychologically, I'm like, I'm getting a discount and I'm stoked. I like shopping. Like, as you can see by all the, the last month packages I shared. But it really does. It depends. If you want to send me an email, just put in the subject line, GNCC webinar question. So Gary, you can just email support@intuitiveshipping.com. My team will flag it for me. Just share your store and I can give you more insight. Because with just having that, it's so difficult to say the best idea for that.
No, that makes full sense. I actually wanted to follow up on a question that had actually been emailed to us. And a lot of it is actually, it's all about shipping costs and what the best way to move forward with. This question came from Murray Scott, and he had asked if the flat rate shipping versus actual shipping costs based on weight, which one is better? And there was a secondary part to it, but I'll get to that first. But is flat rate shipping better than actual shipping costs based on weight? Now, this is coming from a retail business that sends something out that people can order online, or can actually go to and then have it shipped to a certain destination.
Okay.
What works better there?
It really depends on how much data they have. So if they've had enough sales, and ideally, again, over a year, because there are different holidays. I mean, we have some sellers where all of a sudden in like a 2-month span, it just goes like tons of sales. The rest of the year, they're quiet. It depends on that. But if you have enough data, like flat shipping, if you can do it, is better from the consumer perspective, especially if you can have that threshold and have that free shipping, because psychologically people just like free. I put like the quotes because it's never free. But if you can do flat rate shipping, I would do it. But the goal is just to not lose money though. And actually one thing I can actually add on for that is, let's just say you put flat rate shipping, you're like, okay, I can do it for like $7. I'm covered across most of Canada. And someone from like Moose Jaw orders from you, and it's like 3 planes to get there. It's going to be a hefty shipping cost. So you're going to realize this after the customer checks out, but before you actually print the label. So you're going to go in, let's just say it's going to be like $70 to ship. You can absolutely go back to your customer, let them know, hey, it's going to cost a lot of money to ship to you. I can actually just charge you even half the shipping price, whatever it is. You don't actually have to ship the order and lose like $70 because it hasn't officially happened. And if you think about it, that customer is always going to make you lose money. People don't move often. If they do, it's usually in the same area. And the last thing you really want is that person to say, hey friends, I ordered from the store and it was like such great shipping and it's great. And now you have all their friends ordering and you're paying like $70 for shipping and for every one of them. So it's something you don't have to actually fulfill the order if you're gonna lose business, like money, because it's actually better to lose their business in a sense.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. The same individual, but I think you've answered it through your presentation. Also asked if should shipping be blended in with your product costs, and I think you touched on that as well. It's the idea of, is it free or does the customer perceive it as being free and an option there? So I think both of them have been addressed. There is one that has come in through
there is one piece on that. Something that will actually, you don't want to put it into your product price is if you sell an item that other people sell, because people can cost compare. So if you sell a unique item, you can, because people won't know. But sometimes it actually happens on Amazon where you can get cheaper from another seller at like $10 cheaper, but plus $12 shipping.
Yes.
It's just a different kind of like combination. So if you sell something unique, you can do it easily. If you sell something that's common, you have to keep your price in line with everyone else.
I actually agree with you fully on that. And I think I think the consumer have gotten so used to online ordering and have gotten actually more educated over the last 2 years. I think we have seen a huge jump in that end of it. And I think we have all created our own internal standards to saying this is acceptable to me and I move forward here. This is another question that's coming forward from one of our participants today, and they're asking, do you only work with Spotify or do you work with other platforms as well, like WooCommerce and others?
So right now we are with Shopify. However, in the next few months, if you're a BigCommerce user, you might want to keep an ear out. So we're not with WooCommerce right now. So the problem, and I can actually explain from a technology standpoint why. So platforms like WooCommerce, even Magento, you can manipulate the core code. So with platforms like Shopify, BigCommerce, it's closed source, meaning that there's only so much we can actually be passed at checkout. So if you think about where we're at, the platform's like, hey, this is the cart, this is all the stuff. We're like, oh, thank you. We do our work. Maybe go to a carrier if needed. We're like, here's Shopify. And they're like, thank you. And they put it to the customer. So it's always going to be very similar. When you have an open source platform, what can happen is so many things can be changed that what they're sending you, it can just not work. There's a lot more that cannot function. And also just personally, if I was to start my own online store, which I kind of make the Lavu store real, because like it's kind of real. We have like products on it and like just kind of sassy descriptions. We kind of want to make it actually a thing. But if I actually had a store, I would choose a platform like Shopify or BigCommerce. You want to go with something that you're not having to manage as much. So everything is just in there. Like you're not having to do your hosting. If something goes wrong, Shopify's on it. BigCommerce is on it. We used to work with an open source platform called OpenCart. I know what it's open source and OpenCart. And what would happen is you would have this it's free. You basically install it and then you have to hire a developer. You have to have your own hosting, and the whole the cloud hosting is so much better because there's so many more people in it. The infrastructure scales better with your store, where if you're the only person on your own hosting, it can go down, it can be slower, and the cost is so much more for people. And also platforms like Wix is also another one, but they're closed as well. But at the time we last checked, they didn't have the actual like phone call, I guess, functionality to properly work.
Yeah.
That's like phone call. Like that's how I kind of summarize it.
No, makes complete sense. There have been some questions that have come forward, and I think this is ways that we all as consumers are looking at it too, is what maybe could weigh or impact the cost of shipping. That's it impacts the cost of production at the same time. But areas that people are looking at is saying we have seen a tremendous amount of gas price fluctuation. So here you have people who have always had a set price for something, and how does that impact them? And then the second question related to it, and I think we can pull them together, likely different answers to it, but do we see fluctuations in costs when it comes to the seasons that we have? Like I would look at a pre-Christmas season, for example, Black Friday and others. Do they impact the pricing of shipping? So one of them is more current, it's the gas prices, but one is also taking a look at the whole year and saying, are we impacted by it differently?
We are. So what's really interesting is the gas prices were already expected to go up. It just happened faster. So every year, all the major carriers, so carriers, again, UPS, Canada Post, Purolator, that's the carrier. They will have all their economic people who do all the number crunching look ahead, and they will change their pricing. So they'll actually, if you go on your carrier site, you can find it. They always put it out usually about January. And they'll have all the impact for the pricing. Oh, ground's gone up by this much. 2 days triple because of whatever's happened. So it always happens at a set time of the year. But then there are also things like the flooding in BC that's going to impact it, because you can't drive there. The only option you have is flying, and the flying demand increases. But typically it is going to happen once a year. I mean, let's just say gas prices triple from now, which also I don't think anyone's going to go anywhere. Like realistically, I'm not going to leave my house. But then the carriers would come up with it faster. But you can always just subscribe, like your carriers, like it's really fun because, well, I guess for me, I'm like, I'm a bit biased, but Canada Post, for example, they'll have like white papers where they'll actually release this information. You can subscribe to their mailing list. And if you go to something like ShipStation or Shippo, just subscribe to their newsletters. They also send things out ahead of time. Like for example, USPS just is releasing, I think it's next month. If you miscalculate your box dimensions, so if I say, the things I have, like Kleenex box, let's just say I'm like, yeah, this box is only like 2 inches by 3 inches, and I give it to UPS. So now the cost is going to be based on that smaller dimension. If they have to correct the actual dimensions, there's going to be an added fee. But they always communicate it ahead of time, and it is really carrier specific. But this is also why DIY shipping isn't ideal, because the gas price fluctuates so much. And as pretty much like a small maker consumer kind of person, like I'm not going to know. I don't have like a team of economists and forecasting things. So it's better to kind of rely on those carriers for that information.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm conscious of the time because we have about 3 minutes left, but I wanted to get to one person who also has a business, a Niagara business. They had created what they refer to as a Google website that drives their e-commerce. And the question is, how successful is a Google website for e-commerce, and is it the best way to drive sales? And I think that's an interesting question. I wish almost that this individual would be here so we would find out more about them and about their business, but I promise to ask that on their behalf.
Yeah. So it depends. They mean, you might not have the context in the email. Do they mean like the Google shopping feed?
I almost assume that that's what they have. I don't have more information from them, and they weren't able to join us here live, but they are really looking at expanding the e-commerce to employ more electronic transactions. And so they're just asking what is probably the best way to share or like create that e-commerce for their business.
Yeah. So depending on what they're asking, if I'm not actually certain if Google has, no, they think they might have like a small kind of e-commerce thing. I would always, so this is my thing. I'm always weary of anyone who's like, we're all in one, we do everything, because there's a reason why platforms have app stores, for example. It's not possible to be everything to everyone. That's why apps exist. We specialize. So I'd always recommend, if you are building a store, use a platform that works well. Unless you want to spend your time tweaking tech, I would do something like Shopify, BigCommerce, Wix, even Squarespace. You're not going to have as many headaches, but what's cool is there are apps that allow you to have the Google shopping feed, and those do help because basically what happens is I'll search, I'm looking for floor lamps, and what will happen is they essentially like pay to go at the top, and I'm going to see like, oh, Mishka's store floor lamp, and I'm going to see an actual picture of it before I even look at the list. And if you think about if you're shopping, you're going to respond better to a picture than you are to kind of like the text things. And then you click on that and it will take you to the store. One thing though, that's something to be a bit weary of is there are shipping issues that can happen where it's a Google Merchant Shopping Center. We have a whole article about it actually in our help center, where if the price listed in Google is, believe the shipping isn't high enough to cover what it is on your shop, it's different, they can actually delist you. However, having any way you can get your name out there, great. Especially the Google shopping feed. If it's working, it makes sense. If you do notice that someone is clicking, because this goes back to that marketing part of the buyer's journey. If people are clicking that, they go to your site and now you have people leaving, there is something on your site making people not buy. So clicking is great, but what on your site is not working?
Yeah. That makes sense. We have to wrap up, but I want to get to this one quick question. I was wondering if there's a yes or no answer to it, but do Canada Post outlets, i.e. like in a Shoppers Drug Mart, add a drop-off fee still for prepaid packages? Every time I drop off a parcel off, I'll be being charged $2.50, yet to Canada Post on a different location, there is no extra charge to it. Are people, yeah.
My parents, because they're small makers, oh, did someone from that must have been that's Adrian. I know it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. So my parents, what will happen is some Canada Post locations, they will take like an actual like ruler and they'll look at it like spot on. Other ones aren't as specific about it. I'm curious, CM, like if you're still here, are you dropping it off and leaving, or do you go there and stay? So you just drop it off and leave then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would do next time, I would stay, like, because this could be so many different things. I would just say, be like, hey, why is there this added fee? And maybe they're measuring in a different way. If this is always an issue with that location, just use the other one where it's not an issue, because you're paying money you should not.
Okay, that
Because
sounds
it's a weight issue.
yeah.
That comes to a weight issue as well.
Yeah. So I think this is helpful. But what I see, Sharon, is I think that there's a lot more questions that people have that are here with us today. And my colleague Savannah actually has placed in the chat a way to get a hold of you and your support team. And in the subject matter, as Sharon had pointed out beforehand, if you put in their GNCC webinar, then it gets directly to Sharon, and she will get back to you directly. Sharon, thank you so very much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
It's such a critical issue to so many businesses. And my thanks also go to YMCA Employment and Immigrant Services of Niagara for always bringing us together for lunch and learn. And I have to say, I'm looking forward to maybe hopefully soon to also hold it in person or have a hybrid version of it so that you can tune in online, but also that maybe some of us can get together at the same time too. We will share the recording of this webinar and any additional resources that were mentioned with everyone who's with us here in attendance. So thank you very much for being with us and have a great afternoon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.